Welcome to Custom Home Builder Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software for the professional home builder. In this video, I'm going to begin talking about how CHS knows which entries to your accounting database are job costs and how it handles that. What I did to be able to comb through your accounting database and find all records posted that would be considered actual job cost. And by actual, I mean these are records posted to your accounting database because they are real costs. They're costs that are happening as you progress through the job, most commonly posted as accounts payable bills, etc. Before I start on the videos that show you the various actual cost database and actual job cost reports, I'd like to talk about something for a minute. I'm going to open, I already did open actually, for this builder, his chart of accounts. Now, a chart of accounts are the accounts that you're using to post your accounting records so that you can produce financial statements for accounting, etc. First of all, I'd like you to notice that if you do help up here, I have the very first thing is that I'm talking about accounting methods. There are various different accounting methods, and if you print one of the help documents, there's different accounting methods that your accountant or outside CPA, etc., helps you decide which type of accounting method you might be using. And this goes over those various methods. One is cash. In other words, every cost that you're posting, you might be posting straight to cost of sales, and every money's received you might be posting to sales. That's not really recommended by most advisors. Now, the completed contract method is a method where you're putting all of your costs into something called work in progress on your chart of accounts. And might be, a lot of builders use the NAHB recommended one, and they're using the 1430 direct construction costs account to post all their job costs for their accounting. And then when they close the job, they move the whole balance over to cost of sales on their income statement. That's one method. Another method is percentage of completion, and you can go here and click this help and read this, but every month they are moving monies. But my point right now is that CHS is very flexible for accounting so that you can do whatever you like based on your CPA's recommendation about where you post job costs. So you might be using one or more different accounts on your chart of accounts when you're posting an actual job cost. In this case, this builder is using the 1430. You can see the balance here for costs, but other builders might set up an account 1430 for direct construction costs and another GL account right under that maybe for indirect construction costs, because they like to see the direct costs being ones that are things they do, materials and labor, etc., that go directly into the building of a home and will remain on the site, and other indirect costs like maybe warranty fees or job closing costs or various builder's risk insurance, etc. They might consider those to be indirect. So they might, if they have somebody that knows what they're doing when they're posting the job cost bills, they might be using a couple of different accounts on their chart of accounts, or they might have another one called lot work in progress for some development, and they are not putting it in the very same GL. So anyway, the program itself can't know which account on your chart of accounts or which multiple accounts on your chart of accounts you might be posting your job costs to. So the way I solved this is, let's drill down on the records, the accounting records that have been posted to this account. The way I solve this is, first of all, notice that there's separate fields that are searchable fields. So we could search for things in our accounting database that all have one particular job that we're interested in. You'll see that this is a builder that really just had one completed job, and then we've been doing a demo job for VistaView, and you can see how it's in a different field. And you can see that there's something called cost codes. These cost codes represent things like framing labor, foundation, this and that type thing, and you need to watch the videos about cost codes. But that's in a separate field, so we can search for certain types of costs in our big accounting database. And the way I decided to determine if something was a job cost when searching the accounting database is if it had a cost code other than 0. If it has a 0 cost code, that means this is a particular record that we've entered that is not a job cost. But if it has a cost code other than 0, that's how I pick up, search the accounting database, and produce your job cost reports. So it's something with a job code and a cost code other than 0. This is what's called a relational database, so there has to be something in the fields for this, so there'll be a 0 in the cost code field if it's not a job cost. So it's possible, just possible, that you could enter some record to your accounting records that you meant to have on a job cost report, but you forgot to put a cost code. In other words, you left the default of 0 there. And that record would not show up on your job cost reports. Since CHS there isn't a good way to have somebody savvy enough to tell CHS which various accounts on your chart of accounts you might be posting job costs to. So I just comb through, with my programming, I comb through the entire accounting database to look for things that have a cost code other than 0. So if you were an accountant and you were not using this massive job cost program that I have, you might be going to something that's very familiar to you, which is called General Ledgers, an accounting database that is all the records in your accounting world. And you might decide that you're looking, let's look at the dates up here, 0102. Shows the earliest and latest dates of your records, so I want to look at all records. But they might suddenly decide to look for that job that had been going on a whole lot in the accounting database, just because they're looking for that, and they might they might think that somehow they're going to get all the job costs, but they open the database, and you'll see, if you scroll down, you'll see this is first of all in the order of accounts on your chart of accounts, and every record that has a job code of that job I selected. If you start scrolling down, you'll see in the direct construction costs, this builder has used cost codes. Notice this column, other than 0, and every one of those records would be picked up on an actual job cost report. And then you get farther down, let some more records load for that bigger job. And we're still in direct construction costs. We can see that over here, 1430. So we've still got all cost codes going on. But you might want to spot whether there's a 0 cost code suddenly here in this account that you would consider a job cost type account. Now notice that change order deposits, and these are deposits, so they are not job costs, these are monies received, suddenly have a cost code of 0. So what an accountant that understands how CHS works, and they're only wanting to work from general ledgers, they might search for cost codes from this cost code to the latest cost code that does not include a 0. Sometimes, by the way, if you click twice, this will pop up above instead of down below. So we'll do the biggest cost code. So now we've asked for everything with a job code of that job and a cost code other than 0. So actually, and this builder has only used that 1430 account for job costs, but actually no, I think they did use something else in one of my, oh, that was another job. But this 313432 produced from the accounting transactions database now would be the same total that you would see even if there were more than one accounts used. This same total here, because what CHS does to produce actual job costs, I'm going to open an actual job cost database So now you don't have to be entering that range of cost codes. You could just select a job, and we'll do that same job, and we'll open a job cost database. CHS knows which records to go get based on the fact that it's all records that have a cost code other than 0. And if I do a report of this full thing, of all the job costs, I'll just do that top report. We'll be coming back with some other videos to go into detail about this database. But you'll see that that's that same report total. And it says down here, only records that have been signed cost codes other than 0 will be included as actual job costs on this report. CHS will pull it for you. We'll produce job cost reports based on all records in your accounting to actual job costs. That means they've been posted to accounting as a cost. And it will pull all records with cost codes other than 0 to produce these job cost reports. Now notice if you do help here, one of the sections in my help is reconcile job costs to accounting balances. And if you will watch this video, it will show you how you can spot easily with a trial balance that's summed by job for your accounting. You can spot easily maybe some accounting records that you forgot to put a cost code on and you left the 0 in. So you can get your job cost reports reconciled to your accounting reports. I just wanted to go over that before we start in on various videos about your actual job costs. I wanted you to understand how CHS decides that something is an actual job cost by using a cost code other than 0. And thank you for watching. By the way, there's a link right up here to how does CHS gather job costs and how to reconcile job costs to accounting balances, which is a further video explaining this about using cost codes other than 0. Thank you for watching.